The hallway was quiet after sunset. The last echo of footsteps had faded, and the school rested behind locked doors and polished glass. The private academy looked grand even when empty. Tall walls, white marble floors, and framed photos of past winners lined the corridors. This place was built for success, not for mistakes and not for people like Ethan Cole. Ethan worked the night shift as a janitor, wore the same gray uniform every evening, and pushed the same cleaning cart down the same halls. Most people never learned his name. Students passed him without looking. Teachers nodded once and moved on. He was used to being unseen, and over time he had learned to accept it. That night, Ethan finished cleaning the West Wing early. A soft light glowed at the end of the hallway, coming from the music room. The door was slightly open. He knew he should move on, but something pulled him closer. The music room was the heart of the academy. It held the most expensive instruments and the strictest rules. Students practiced there under watchful eyes. Janitors were not meant to linger. Inside the room stood a grand black piano. Its surface shone like glass, reflecting the ceiling lights above. Ethan had cleaned around it many times, always careful not to touch it. Tonight was different. The room felt alive, as if it was waiting. He set his cart aside and stood still, listening to the quiet. Music had once been everything to Ethan. As a boy, he had played on a broken piano at a community center. The keys were chipped, and some notes were off, but he loved it. When his father passed away, life became about work and bills. Music slowly slipped into memory, like a dream that fades after waking. Ethan looked at the piano again. His hands trembled. He told himself he would only touch one key, just one. He sat down carefully on the bench. The room seemed to hold its breath. His finger pressed a single note. The sound was clear and deep, filled the space, and moved through his chest. He closed his eyes. One note became two. Two became a slow melody. Ethan did not think about rules or cameras or consequences. His hands moved on their own, guided by feeling rather than skill. The music was not perfect, but it was honest. It carried sadness, hope, and years of silence. Outside the room, Claire Whitmore stopped walking. Claire was one of the Academy's brightest stars. Her life was filled with lessons, awards, and quiet expectations. She had returned to the school to practice alone. When she heard the piano, she froze. She knew every piece played in that room. This was not one of them. She stepped closer, her heart beating fast. Through the open door, she saw a man in a janitor's uniform sitting at her piano. Shock rushed through her, followed by something she did not expect. Music touched her in a way applause never had. Ethan kept playing, unaware he was no longer alone. Claire stood still, afraid to break the moment. The notes filled the room, and for the first time in a long while, the Academy felt human. When the final note faded, silence returned. It was deep and heavy. Ethan opened his eyes slowly, his breath uneven. That was when he saw her reflection on the piano's surface. He turned, fear rising in his chest. The silence between them changed everything. Ethan stood frozen near the piano. His heart beat hard and his hands felt weak. Claire remained by the door, her face calm but her eyes full of questions. The silence between them felt heavy, like the room was waiting for someone to speak. Ethan was the first to move. He stood up quickly and stepped back from the bench. He lowered his head and spoke in a low voice. He said he was sorry, and that he should not have touched the piano. His words came out fast, filled with fear. He expected anger or a sharp command to leave. Claire did not raise her voice. She did not move closer either. She only asked one simple question. She asked how long he had been playing. Ethan looked up, surprised. He answered honestly. Said he used to play when he was young, but life changed. Said he only played sometimes in his head now. He said tonight was a mistake. Claire shook her head slowly. She said it did not sound like a mistake. Her voice was steady, but inside she felt something stir. She had spent years playing music exactly as written. She had practiced until her fingers hurt and her mind went empty. What she heard tonight was different. It was real. She stepped into the room and closed the door behind her. The sound echoed softly. Ethan grew more nervous. He worried about rules, cameras, and his job. Claire saw the fear on his face. She told him he was not in trouble. She said she only wanted to listen again. Ethan did not understand. No one had ever asked him that before. He asked her if she was sure. Claire nodded. She walked toward the piano and touched its smooth surface. She said this piano belonged to everyone who respected it. Her words felt strange even to herself, but they were true. Ethan sat back down slowly. His hands hovered over the keys. This time, his fingers shook more than before. He took a deep breath and began to play. The melody was softer now, carried worry and hope at the same time. Claire sat on a nearby chair and listened. She noticed the small pauses between notes. She noticed how the music changed when his thoughts wandered. She felt her chest tighten. No judge had ever taught her how to hear music like this. When he finished, Claire clapped once, quietly. The sound surprised both of them. Ethan smiled for the first time that night. It was small and unsure, but real. They began to talk, not about money or school or rules. They spoke about long nights and tired mornings. Ethan talked about working since he was a teenager. Claire talked about being watched all the time. Realized they were both lonely in different ways. Time passed without them noticing. The lights outside dimmed further. The school felt far away. When Claire checked the clock, she knew she had to leave. Before walking out, she turned to Ethan and asked if he would play again another night. Ethan hesitated. He knew it was risky, but something in her voice felt honest. Agreed. As Claire left the room, she felt lighter than she had in years. As Ethan returned to his cart, the hallway no longer felt empty. Both of them walked away knowing something had begun, even if neither understood what it was yet. The next evening arrived quietly. The academy settled into its usual silence. His lights dimmed and doors closed. Ethan pushed his cart down the hallway with a different feeling in his chest. He kept looking toward the music room, unsure if Claire would come. Part of him believed the night before had been a strange dream. He finished cleaning early again. His hands felt restless. He told himself to stay focused on work, but his feet slowed near the music room. The door was closed this time. Turned away, ready to leave, when he heard soft footsteps behind him. Claire stood there holding a small bag. She smiled when she saw him. The smile was careful but warm. She said she hoped he had not changed his mind. Ethan shook his head. He felt shy, but also glad. He opened the door for her, and they stepped inside together. The room felt different when they were both there. Less formal. More real. Claire placed her bag on a chair and sat near the piano. She did not rush him. She waited. Ethan sat down slowly and began to play. This time, the music was steadier. His hands remembered more than he expected. Claire listened closely. She noticed how his shoulders relaxed as the melody grew. She realized he was not playing for praise. He was playing because he needed to. When he stopped, Claire asked if she could try something. She sat beside him on the bench. It felt strange sharing the space. She played a simple line, clean and careful. Then she nodded at him. Ethan joined in. Their sounds blended. Uneven at first, then smoother. They played for a long time. Sometimes they spoke. Sometimes they stayed quiet. The music filled the empty spaces between them. They did not notice the hours passing. On another night, they met again, and again after that. It became their quiet routine. Claire started coming without fancy clothes or titles. Ethan stopped worrying so much about being seen. The music room became their safe place. One evening, Claire arrived looking tired. She told Ethan about an upcoming performance. Her family expected greatness. The school expected perfection. She felt trapped by fear. Ethan listened carefully. He did not try to fix her problem. He only told her she was more than the stage. Claire looked at him, surprised. No one had ever said that to her. The words stayed with her. As the days passed, rumors began to move through the academy. Someone had heard music late at night. Someone had seen Claire walking through the halls after hours. Whispers grew. Ethan noticed the looks from guards and staff. One night he told Claire they should stop, said it was too risky. Claire felt hurt, but understood his fear. She asked him one question. She asked if the music mattered to him. Ethan answered without thinking. He said yes. Claire stood up and said, then it mattered to her too. She said hiding forever was not living. Her voice was calm but strong. That night, they played louder than before. Not reckless, but free. The notes carried courage. When they finally left the room, both of them knew change was coming. Neither knew what it would bring. But they were no longer alone, and that truth gave them strength. In the grand concert hall, where melodies were born and dreams took flight, lived a young pianist named Leo. He was a prodigy, his fingers dancing across the ivory keys with a precision that seemed almost supernatural. Day after day, he practiced for the upcoming national competition, the weight of expectation heavy on his shoulders. He was brilliant, but something was missing. The piece he composed lacked a soul, a spark of true emotion. Every evening after Leo had packed up his sheet music and left the empty hall, an old janitor named Arthur would begin his work. Arthur was a quiet man, his presence as unassuming as the gentle swish of his broom. No one knew that behind his humble exterior was a heart that beat in perfect rhythm with the music that echoed through the halls. He had spent his life listening, absorbing every note, every chord, every crescendo. Music was his secret love, a passion he never had the chance to pursue. One night, frustrated and on the verge of giving up, Leo returned to the concert hall. The stage was dimly lit, but a beautiful, haunting melody filled the air. It was his own composition, but played with a depth and feeling he had never been able to achieve. He followed the sound and found Arthur at the grand piano, his gnarled fingers moving with an unexpected grace, pouring years of unspoken emotion into the keys. Leo was stunned. He saw not a janitor, but a true artist. Without a word, he sat down next to Arthur. He started to play, adding a delicate harmony to Arthur's powerful melody. Arthur looked up, his eyes shining, and a silent understanding passed between them. They played together, two souls from different worlds, united by the universal language of music. Their impromptu duet was raw, passionate, and utterly breathtaking. It was the missing piece, the heart of the song. On the night of the competition, the hall was packed. The judges, critics, and audience held their breath as Leo walked onto the stage. But he wasn't alone. Extended a hand to Arthur, the janitor, and led him to the piano. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Together, they sat, and together, they played. Their music told a story of hidden talent, unlikely friendship, and the incredible power of a shared dream. It was a performance that nobody in that hall would ever forget. Thanks for watching. In the hallowed halls of the Royal Academy of Music, every note was a prisoner to perfection. Here, Ethan and Claire lived by the metronome's relentless tick. Ethan, a pianist with fire in his fingers, was constantly told his playing was too emotional, too wild. Claire, a violinist whose melodies could make you weep, was criticized for being too timid, her passion hidden behind a wall of technical precision. They were good, yes, but they felt like echoes of composers long gone, not artists in their own right. One rainy afternoon, the Academy's grand hall was empty, save for the two of them. The annual gala was approaching, and the pressure was immense. Ethan sat at the grand piano, sighing. He started playing the assigned piece, a rigid, soulless sonata. The notes were perfect, but they felt hollow. Claire watched him, sensing his frustration. She knew that feeling all too well. Suddenly, Ethan stopped. He looked at Claire, a spark of defiance in his eyes. He started a new melody, one that was chaotic, beautiful, and entirely his own. It was a storm of chords and arpeggios, a story he'd been dying to tell. Claire, captivated, raised her violin. She didn't hesitate. She joined his impromptu symphony, her bow dancing across the strings, weaving a tale of longing and hope that intertwined perfectly with his. For the first time, they weren't just playing notes, or speaking a language only their hearts understood. The music swelled, filling the cavernous hall with a sound that was raw, honest, and breathtakingly alive. They forgot the rules, the scores, the expectations. There was only the music, a powerful duet born from a shared moment of rebellion. When the final note faded, silence hung in the air, thick with unspoken emotion. They'd found something more valuable than perfection. They had found their own voices. At the gala, they didn't play the prescribed piece. Instead, they played their song, the one from that rainy afternoon. The audience was stunned, then erupted in applause. It wasn't just a performance. It was a declaration. From that day on, Ethan and Claire played not just for applause, but for the sheer joy of letting their true selves sing. Thanks for watching. And if their story resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales of inspiration.